They didn't win an election and they couldn't change the law.
Donald Trump is the president. It's his DHS. It's his ICE. Republicans have full control of government, House, Senate, White House. So why are you giving fear-porn examples of the failings of this government when your party is in charge?
Hello guys, before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. One thing I respect about Brian Tyler Cohen is that no matter how heated the conversation gets, he stays calm, focused, and doesn't allow the person across from him to drag him into chaos. In this clip, you're going to see him go head-to-head with Caroline Sunshine, and what starts as a debate over ICE funding quickly turns into a much bigger argument about accountability, responsibility, and who should answer for the current state of government. Watch closely because the exchange takes several unexpected turns. Let's get into it.
What is going on? Why can't the government come to a deal and get this thing done?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that Donald Trump wants to leverage Americans' pain so that he can try and exploit that so that he can pass a voter suppression bill. I mean, at the end of the day, we know that there were a ton of different options to actually get this thing done, to get TSA funded. The Democrats put forward 9 standalone bills to fund TSA. Donald Trump rejected them. Senator Kennedy, a Republican senator, admitted that Donald Trump rejected it. And so he wanted the pain because for him, that pain is a tool. It is a way for him to avail himself of whatever he can to get what he needs, which is a voter suppression bill, and he would use Americans' pain to get there.
There's a lot for you to unpack there.
Well, I'll just start with a question, which would be, why was it okay for Democrats to fund ICE under Biden and Obama, but now it's a problem under Trump?
That's a great question. It's because ICE can't stop shooting and killing Americans in the streets. They did it to Renee Good. They did it to Alex Preddy. And so Democrats wanted some...
after that.
Well, thank God they stopped after that. But I think 2 is probably enough. Yeah. And so Democrats were asking for some very common sense conditions to be met, which include no masks, pretty reasonable.
No masks from the party who wanted to tell everybody for years in this country they had to do nothing but wear masks during COVID, to be clear.
This is law enforcement.
Why are they having to wear masks?
Why are they having to wear masks right now? Because they don't want to be identified for...
Because they don't want to be doxxed by Democrat lawmakers.
There is no other law enforcement agent.
ICE, they can't carry out their mission.
There is no other law enforcement agent.
These are real people who are worried about going home to their families, and they're doing a job which is to enforce the laws of our country that are on the books.
Well, if they were doing those laws properly, the way any other law enforcement agency has for the last 250 years, they wouldn't need to cover their faces, but they're not. They're killing people on the streets, and we've seen numerous instances of that.
I'm glad you bring up killing people on the streets. So what would you say to the family of Sheridan Gorman, who was killed last week by an illegal immigrant who entered our country in 2023 and had a detainer out and an arrest warrant that wasn't fulfilled? What would you say to her family as to why it's okay to not fund ICE, whose job it would be to make sure that 1, he was never here, and 2, that we've gotten rid of him? What would you say to her family?
Look, I'm sad for anybody who passes away or who is tragically killed. We have had ICE, we've had immigration enforcement in this country for years and years and years, and they've managed to do it without slaughtering people in the streets. And so I think that if we don't have an agency,
you're going to tell her family?
If we don't have an agency,
you're going to look in the eyes of her grieving parents.
But Caroline, which of the demands, the idea of the no masks, the warrant, what is your problem with? Let's start with the masks. I mean, why should police don't wear masks?
Well, the problem is that, again, this is why I asked you originally, why was it okay under Obama, why was it okay under Biden to carry out these deportations with 0 fanfare? And now what has happened is
it not more, but it's not more aggressive in the streets, especially, and maybe it'll change now with Mark Wayne Mullen and no Chad Bavino, but there was an aggressive in-your-face push in cities like Los Angeles and Minneapolis that we did not see quite the visible in-your-face push under the Biden administration. You'll admit that, right?
Why did we have to be so aggressive? And part of it is because when you look at the deaths of Alex Preddy and Renee Good, what makes me so sad is the rhetoric from Democrats turned these people into non-law abiding citizens who weren't protesting. They were obstructing
are you saying that
operations.
Alex Preddy was not a law-abiding citizen?
No, absolutely not.
He was holding his phone.
And he also kicked a federal vehicle in the back, which is damaging federal property.
11 days earlier.
Damaging federal property. That's a felony. That's a felony. You asked me if it was criminal behavior. That's a felony.
Somebody should not be killed for that, right?
But of course not.
Yeah.
But he was obstructing law enforcement operations because he and Renee Good existed in this ecosystem that told them this is a virtuous thing to show up and obstruct basic law enforcement operations, where all ICE is doing is enforcing the current laws that are on the books, 3 U.S. Code 1825. If you don't like the laws that are on the books, change them, but that would require winning elections, which Democrats didn't do. You can't now obstruct the enforcement of the laws that are on the books. That's overthrowing democracy. That's undermining the will of the American people.
We've got this weird situation now where ICE actually is funded for a long time because of the big beautiful bill. But what's not being funded is TSA, right? And the Coast Guard and other parts of Homeland Security.
It's all by design. Again, the Democrats were putting forward these bills. It was Trump himself unilaterally who decided that he didn't want this stuff funded because he wanted to exploit the pain that Americans were feeling at the airports. And so he told them, no, because we're not going to do anything until we can get the Save America Act passed. And if that means that we don't fund TSA, then let's not fund TSA. So can you at least admit that we had a solution here right in front of us, that the Democrats and Republicans both conceded that there was a solution and that Donald Trump unilaterally wanted to leverage that pain to get what he wanted politically.
Well, let me just on TSA really quick. I'm okay with some of the TSA agents walking off a job because every time I'm at an airport, I usually see like 7 TSA agents standing around and one of them doing the job. So I'm actually okay with that. But on the fact of leveraging pain, let's talk about the pain again of Sheridan Gorman, who just last week in our country, I just want everybody to picture this. She is an 18-year-old woman who is out watching the Northern Lights with her friends, taking selfies, thinking about what she's going to post on social media, and instantly a bullet rings out, hits her head. She's killed instantly by an illegal immigrant who should have never been here in the first place. Again, came in 2023. ICE's whole job is to get people like that out of our country. It is not morally defensible to defend a nation that allows criminals like that to stay in our country.
ICE is funded.
That's not morally.
But ICE is funded.
ICE is not funded. If
ICE is funded through the One Big Beautiful Bill.
Well, it needs to be funded beyond that, which is.
Well, but how does that answer
this original shutdown, which is Democrats wanting to circumvent the fact that they didn't win an election and they couldn't change the law.
Donald Trump is the president. It's his DHS. It's his ICE. Republicans have full control of government. House, Senate, White House. So why are you giving fear-porn examples of the failings of this government when your party is in charge?
Okay, so
but don't you agree that ICE is itself important, and the idea of taking out criminal illegal aliens that have convicted of other crimes is a good thing?
I think the idea of immigration enforcement is important. I think that ICE, as it stands right now, is beyond repair. I think that this agency is fundamentally broken.
Who's supposed to do the job that she's just talked about?
Who's supposed to save Sheridan Gorman?
I think that
it's a good thing that we allowed her killer to stay in our country. It's a good thing that she's dead. When we talk about exploiting pain, it's a good thing that she's dead.
At a bare minimum.
Yes or no?
At a bare minimum,
she would not be dead.
Let's go one at a time. Let's go one at a time.
They need these conditions put in place, which include having insignia or being able to identify yourself, not wearing masks, having warrants signed by judges, and no ICE at the polls come November. I think those are all pretty reasonable conditions.
And what about the pain of Sheridan Gorman's family?
Again, I answered that question. It's tragic when anybody gets killed.
And just want to follow up on something you said. I mean, for the TSA agents who are hardworking people who are going without pay now for a month, I mean, how is that okay? Why is that good? I mean, I know you just sort of like laughed at that some of them are standing around, but these are people who have jobs, who are dependent on this money, and they're going to work every day and not getting paid.
Yes, and that's why I wish Congress as a whole, and you mentioned my party, and I will knock my party in this, Republicans control both chambers of Congress. And the one thing I will give Democrats is Democrats are excellent politically at sticking together when it comes to votes. Republicans have never figured that out, both under the first Trump administration and under this Trump administration. They do not have the grit and the toughness that President Trump has in terms of forcing through an agenda. I will give that to Democrats because Republicans right now could force this through and could force a situation where you don't have to go up against this kind of opposition with Democrats. It's nonsense. They need to learn to wield power better.
Get rid of the filibuster?
Yes, and President Trump has said that, and I support that.
You know what? I support it too. I think this is a rare moment of compromise because Republicans have been using the filibuster as a tool to prevent any meaningful legislation from getting passed. It is inherently anti-democratic, and so I would absolutely be in favor of nuking the filibuster.
Well, there you go. We can get the SAVE Act passed, right?
There you go.
I think,
so you agree we should pass the SAVE Act?
I do not think we should pass the SAVE Act.
Of course, the institutional argument against that is there's a lot of bad legislation that is sometimes stopped by the filibuster, and it is the one way of stopping government from moving too quickly. But, you know, we'll see.
Now that the debate is over, here's the thing that stands out to me more than anything: the selective way that tragedy gets discussed in politics. Every loss of innocent life is heartbreaking. Every family that loses a loved one deserves empathy and compassion. But what often frustrates people is when some tragedies become the center of a political argument, while other victims disappear from the conversation because their stories don't support the same political message. And that's the larger issue being exposed here. A society that truly values life has to apply that concern consistently, whether the conversation is about violent crime, government accountability, healthcare, public safety, or the actions of law enforcement agencies. You can't pick and choose when compassion matters depending on whether the story helps your side win an argument. Another thing that stood out to me was how quickly some parts of the discussion moved away from the actual policy debate. Comparing law enforcement officers concealing their identities during operations to public health mask requirements during a global pandemic are two completely different discussions with different purposes, and that's why that comparison became such a major point of contention in this exchange. What I think this debate ultimately revealed is a deeper problem in modern politics. Far too many conversations become about defending a team instead of honestly examining whether a system is working as it should. The strongest democracies are built on accountability. Every administration, every agency, and every political movement should be open to criticism and scrutiny. That shouldn't be controversial. It should be the expectation. But I want to hear from you. Who do you think made the stronger argument in this debate? Did Brian Tyler Cohen make the better case? Or do you think Caroline Sunshine raised valid points that deserve more attention? Drop your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell notification so you never miss another upload. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.